Welcome, beast of the storm. Yes, you, not the fragile one they expected, not the shadow they ignored, not the discarded name whispered behind closed doors, but the force, the eruption, the reckoning. You walked into a world that tried to bury you beneath its weight, tried to chain you with its doubts, tried to laugh you into silence. They underestimated the coldness you were born in, the pain that molded your will, the nights that carved hunger into your bones. You didn't survive what they threw at you. No, you devoured it. The world thought you were weak because you were quiet. They mistook your patience for surrender. They misread your scars as signs of defeat. But tonight, you're not just alive, you are rising. And they don't know how to deal with that. They don't know how to explain what you've become, because you didn't just prove them wrong, you humiliated them. If this hits something deep inside you, that fire, that ache, that wound you never show, then don't just watch this. Let it become you. Hit that subscribe, smash that like. Not for me, but for you. For the broken child still raging in your chest. For the dream that was laughed at in front of you. For the hours no one saw. For the voice that shook but never stopped speaking. You owe yourself this moment. You deserve to hear your own story screamed into the night like a war cry. So let this be the anthem for those who were written off, burned, mocked, doubted, and still stood up with blood in their mouth and a grin on their face. This is for you. This is you. They all had their stories about you, didn't they? Whispered like rumors, passed like currency. He won't make it, they said. She's too soft, they laughed. They'll never last, they sneered. But those same voices now choke on your name. They scroll through your life trying to make sense of what they missed. They search for excuses, call it luck, say the system was rigged, anything but admit that they were wrong. You shattered their predictions. You weren't just the underdog, you were the hidden threat, the secret storm, the quiet weapon. And now they sit in silence, watching you do what they said could never be done. Watching you win. They can't unsee it. Your rise, your victory, your vengeance. Because it was vengeance, wasn't it? Let's not pretend it was just personal growth or inner peace. No. This was war. Every insult, every smirk, every backhanded compliment. You remembered, and you sharpened it. You let it cut you open, and you bled purpose. You didn't forgive. You transformed. And now you walk like a myth they swore didn't exist. A legend written in scars, inked in persistence. The very air shifts when you enter, and they feel it, the weight of what they never saw coming. This isn't just about proving them wrong. That's too polite, too clean. This is about disgracing their certainty. You humiliated their logic, their mockery, their assumptions. You burned their predictions in front of them and made them eat the ash. You made them remember who you are. Not by screaming louder, but by working in silence, by hurting in silence, by building in silence. And then you walked out, not asking for applause, but demanding silence, because your success hurts them, and it should. They thought you'd break. They were sure of it, because that's what people like them do. They project their own limits onto others. They look at you and see what they fear. So when you started climbing, they tried to pull you down. They tried to distract you, humiliate you, isolate you. But you learned to climb alone. You learned to fall alone. And then you learned how to rise higher than they ever thought possible. Now, they have to live with it, with the fact that you didn't just rise. You towered over everything they stood on. Your name is the echo they can't silence. You became everything they couldn't understand, a creature of obsession, of grit, of violent self-belief. You didn't wait to be discovered. You created yourself, in the dark, while they slept, while they laughed, while they dismissed you. You became something terrifying, not because you sought revenge, but because you became undeniable. Because now, when they look in the mirror, they see what they never could be. You. Let's be honest. You didn't do it just to feel better. You did it to burn. You did it so that when they looked at your life, they'd ache. You did it so they'd sit in rooms and whisper, "We were wrong about them." You did it so their friends would ask, "Weren't you the one who said they'd fail?" You did it so that every time they hear your name, their stomach twists. That's not bitterness. That's reality. That's what happens when a wolf survives the hunt and comes back wearing the skin of the hunter. You aren't humble about this. You shouldn't be. This isn't the time for humility. This is the time to own it, to wear the crown made from their broken expectations. You earned this through hell, through hunger, through betrayal, through silence, through nights you almost gave up, but you didn't. And that matters. That means something. Because now, you are the nightmare they accidentally created, the legend their cruelty gave birth to. You are the aftermath of their arrogance. They can't erase you now. You're etched into the timeline. Your success is louder than their doubts ever were. Your presence haunts them. Not because you rubbed it in, but because they know they tried to stop you. They know they wanted you to fail. And yet, here you are, standing, thriving, dominating. You are the scar they gave themselves. And you know what hurts them the most? That you didn't need them. That you didn't crawl back. That you didn't beg for validation. You built your own kingdom and locked the gates. Now they watch from outside, shivering in the cold, wondering what it feels like to matter. But they never will, because they chose mockery over faith, doubt over belief, jealousy over support. And now they get to feel what you felt, but without the strength to carry it. So don't be kind about your victory. Let it glow. Let it shine like a wound made of gold. Let it be the proof that silence is sometimes the loudest scream. And when they look at you, smile. Because you know what they don't. They needed you to lose, but you needed to endure. And endurance always wins. This was never about talent, never about being the best. It was about refusing to stay dead. It was about dragging yourself out of the grave they dug for you and building an empire on top of it. You weren't born a champion. You became one in the furnace of everyone's doubt, in the slaughterhouse of lost confidence, in the graveyard of you'll never make it. And now you own the battlefield. You humiliated them, not just with success, but with silence, with discipline, with elegance. You never had to scream. You let your life scream for you. Every late night, every quiet yes to yourself, every painful decision, every moment you held your tongue while your hands built your dream. That's what humiliates them, the fact that you were better than their hate, stronger than their fear, louder than their noise, without ever raising your voice. So hold your head high, let them talk, let them scramble for explanations, let them compare and spiral and drown in the reality they can't accept. And don't you dare shrink, don't you dare apologize. You were built for this, born for this, forged for this. You didn't just prove them wrong, you humiliated them. And you're not even done yet. Because here's the cruel truth nobody ever tells you. The moment you humiliate your doubters, the moment you surpass their wildest nightmares about you, is the moment the war inside doesn't stop. It only gets louder. The hunger doesn't die, it becomes insatiable. You find yourself standing alone at the summit, but instead of peace, there is only the echo of every scar, every betrayal, every sleepless night you carried like a secret weapon. The world thought this would break you. It didn't. Instead, it sharpened you. You became a blade forged in darkness, cutting through every lie they told about you, every shadow cast over your dreams. And the truth is, that blade never dulls. You keep moving, you keep proving, because once you've tasted that kind of victory, anything less is poison. This humiliation you dealt them, this tearing down of their arrogance, it's not a final act. It's a beginning of a story they will never be allowed to forget. A story that is written not in the ink of convenience, but in the blood of relentless determination. You're the living contradiction to every doubt they ever harbored. You are the nightmare of every excuse they ever made. You don't owe them an explanation, because the silence of your success is the loudest explanation. They wanted you to break, crumble, disappear into the background. But you rewrote that ending. You didn't just walk through their fire, you became the fire. And now they stare, wide-eyed, desperate for the chance to understand how you did it. But understanding is a luxury reserved for those who never had to fight. You know the truth. The fight was brutal. The fight was lonely. The fight was the kind that steals sleep, steals sanity, steals everything. But it cannot steal your will. It cannot steal your heart. You carried the weight of their disbelief and transformed it into wings. You soared while they remained earthbound, shackled by their fear of what you might become. Their doubt was your fuel, their mockery your grindstone, and every time you felt like giving up, you chose to rise. This isn't just motivation. This is a manifesto, a declaration for every soul who has ever been cast aside, ignored, or made to feel less than. This is the anthem of the broken who refuse to stay broken, the lost who become leaders, the weak who become warriors. You didn't just survive the darkness, you owned it. You looked into the abyss and told it, "You don't own me." And because of that, your story is no longer just yours. It's a beacon for anyone who's ever been told they weren't enough. You've turned their disbelief into your victory, their laughter into your crown. But be warned, the path you've chosen is not a gentle one. Because now, every new challenge you face will be met with the memory of what you've already conquered. You can't retreat to the comfort of the familiar anymore. The world expects more from you, demands more from you, and inside, the fire that humiliated your past enemies demands more too. It whispers that the best revenge is to keep going, to keep building, to keep dominating, to keep showing up when everyone else has quit, to remind them every single day that you are not a mistake, that you are the storm they never saw coming. So when they tell you you're lucky, smile, because luck is for the weak. You earned everything with sweat and pain and nights so dark you thought you'd never see morning. You earned your place with scars they'll never understand, with battles they'll never witness. You earned it with a hunger so fierce it swallowed every excuse, every doubt, every attempt to stop you. And now, you stand tall, a living monument to the power of relentless will. And if you ever feel the pull to stop, to rest, to turn back, remember who you were when they wrote you off. Remember the faces that looked down on you and the voices that said you'd fail. Remember the tears you hid, the moments you fought to keep going when the world was against you. Remember that you didn't just prove them wrong, you humiliated them. And that humiliation is a legacy you carry with pride. It's a fire that will never go out. It's a voice that will never be silenced. It's a truth that will never be denied. Keep moving forward. Keep fighting. Keep proving them wrong again and again and again. Because this is your story and no one gets to rewrite it but you. And no matter what happens next, you have already won the war they thought they started. They say the night is darkest just before the dawn, but you became the night. You became the darkness that no dawn could ever fully pierce. You embraced the cold silence, the crushing weight of doubt, the suffocating loneliness, and from it, you forged a power so fierce it scares even the bravest souls. You weren't born with this strength. No one handed it to you. You stole it from the jaws of despair. You wrestled it free from the depths where most would have drowned, and now you carry it like armor, not to protect you from the world, but to remind the world who dared to bury you alive. They thought you'd rot underground, forgotten and useless. Instead, you grew roots that cracked the very ground beneath their feet. You didn't just humiliate their judgment, you humiliated their entire belief system. The comfortable lies they told themselves about you, the lazy assumptions they made, the way they underestimated the fire in your soul, all of it has been laid bare by your triumph. Every success of yours is a slap in the face to their certainty, a challenge to their complacency. And that's why they hate it. That's why they can't look away. Because you became the proof that they were wrong. Not just a little wrong, but catastrophically, humiliatingly wrong. And let's be clear, this isn't about revenge or malice. This is about justice. The justice of proving that your worth was never dependent on their approval. The justice of living a life so rich and powerful that their doubt becomes irrelevant noise in the background. The justice of transforming pain into pride, weakness into unbreakable strength, silence into a deafening roar that echoes through the halls of every place that ever rejected you. Look back for a moment, if you dare. Look back at every time you were told you couldn't, that you shouldn't, that you wouldn't. Look at those moments and see what they truly were. Fuel. They were the gasoline you needed to ignite the inferno inside you. They were the stones in your path, meant to trip you, but instead, they became your stepping stones. Every insult, every slight, every whispered doubt, they were not weights dragging you down. They were weights you lifted, one by one, and turned into trophies of your rise. And now that you stand here, towering over the ruins of their expectations, you understand something fundamental. The greatest humiliation isn't just winning. It's doing so with grace, with quiet strength, with a calm that unnerves them more than any outburst could. You don't have to scream to be heard. You don't have to brag to be noticed. Your life is your voice. Your achievements are your statement. Your resilience is your legacy. Remember this. The people who doubted you are trapped in their own minds, prisoners of their own fear and limitation. They're the ones stuck in a cycle of small thinking, unable to escape the chains they place on themselves. You, on the other hand, are free. Free because you refuse to accept the world's definition of you. Free because you broke every barrier they built to cage you. Free because your spirit is wild, unrelenting, and unapologetically hungry for more. So hold your head higher. Walk with a confidence that comes from knowing you've faced the abyss and stared it down without flinching. Let your presence be a constant reminder that you are the nightmare of every doubter, the contradiction to every naysayer, the victory that none of them saw coming. Because you didn't just survive their judgment, you thrived in spite of it. And that is the most savage, most beautiful form of revenge. But beware, this journey never ends. The moment you stop pushing, the moment you grow complacent, You give them a crack to sneak back in. You owe it to yourself to keep the fire burning, to keep challenging every limit, to keep turning every no into a new mountain. You'll climb higher than before. Because the real power lies not just in winning once, but in never letting anyone forget who you are, what you stand for, and how far you've come. You are not here by accident. You are here because you were meant to rise, because you were meant to break the mold, shatter expectations, and rewrite the story that everyone thought was already written. You are the chaos they feared, the storm they prayed wouldn't come, the silence before the roar. You are the living proof that some souls are too wild to be tamed, too fierce to be ignored, too relentless to be defeated. So keep your fire burning, keep your spirit unbroken, and keep humiliating the doubts that tried to define you. Because every day you live your truth, every day you rise above their noise, every day you prove their darkest assumptions wrong. You remind the world, and more importantly yourself, that you are unstoppable, and no one will ever be able to take that away from you. So here you stand, not as a victim, not as a shadow, but as the storm itself. Every scar on your body, every wound you carry, is proof that you survived the impossible. They tried to write your story for you, tried to bury your truth beneath layers of doubt and mockery, but you refused to be silenced. You shattered their expectations so violently that what remains is more than just proof. It's a declaration that you are not what they predicted, not what they hoped, but something far greater. You became the nightmare that haunts their complacency, the legend that outshines their disbelief. And this is your moment, the moment you claim not just victory, but domination over every voice that said you'd fail. Never forget the power of your journey. It's not the trophies or the accolades that define you, but the relentless fire inside that refused to die, even when the world told you to give up. That fire is your true crown, the only thing that no one can ever take from you. You didn't just prove them wrong, you humiliated the very foundation of their doubt. Every step you took forward was a step through their walls of disbelief, tearing down every limitation they forced upon you. And while they continue to wonder how you did it, you know the truth. It was never about luck, talent, or favor. It was about refusing to stay broken, refusing to accept less than your worth, and having the courage to become the force they never imagined. But this is not the end. This is the crucible that forges you into something even greater, because the fire that humiliated your past enemies now fuels your future. You will face new challenges, harder battles, and deeper darkness. Yet you will face them with the same unbreakable spirit, the same ferocity, and the same ruthless determination. You don't stop here, and you don't slow down. Because true power is not just in rising once, it is in rising again and again, each time stronger, more defiant, and more unstoppable than before. Let them watch in disbelief. Let them whisper and wonder. You are proof that limits are illusions, and doubt is the fuel of the relentless. So hold your head high and wear your scars like armor, because you earned every single one. You are the living proof that what they said about you was a lie you didn't just disprove, but obliterated. You didn't just win their battles, you humiliated their certainty. And as long as you keep moving forward, as long as you keep breaking the chains of expectation, you will remain the force they feared and the champion you were always meant to be. This is your legacy, your war cry, your truth, and no one will ever silence it again.